Welcome to Balls, Boogies and Tea. I'm back. Right, I want to help you with these because I struggled with these nitro engine things. I'm just going to show you, like, this is, so most of the engines that I run in most of my buggies and things, they're very, like, similar start-off points. So this video is called Nitro Engine Factory Reset. That's what we're going to do. So, the bit that we'll be looking at is the CARB, or the carburetor, or the carburetor. It don't matter. The CARB. In fact, we're not going to look at the CARB. we're gonna have a look at this bit first. So what's actually happening? Down there, see that where it's closed? Open. I did do a video on nitro before, actually, a lot about it. It's so hard to explain. It's not something you can explain. It's something you've got to learn. Now, obviously, people can help you and guide you, but it's just something that you have to sort of listen and look and just work it out. And trust me, the penny will drop eventually, and you will get the hang of it. So, fuel air in, fuel air no. Fuel air in, fuel air no. Two-stroke engine. 1, 2, 1, 2, that's your crank. So that's where the carb sits, and that's what's going on. You have a piston and that in there. Fuel air mixture goes into the cylinder head. It's just picked up force through that crank. Goes onto the piston, cylinder head, glow plugs at the top, glowing red hot, and bang! There you go. So that's how it's fed into the engine. I think I did explain this bit before, actually, in a previous video, but it's good to do them because people don't always see them, and then you've got to get a few out there, haven't you? But that's how it goes into the engine. So, where we're going to start for this factory reset. Now, I'm going to try and keep this video quite short as well, because you'll sort of lose track. But what I find is, it's a good reset. Low speed needle, so that's sort of your idle. This will affect the idle. High speed needle, high range. Yeah, and then idle gap or throttle gap. See how that stops? The gap down here. Sorry if you already know this, some of you will. But remember, some people don't, so we're trying to help those. This screw here is the idle screw. If I adjust this, wind it anti-clockwise, this is important, this gap will get smaller. Ooh. When the throttle's closed, that gap will get smaller. Set that gap down there. Make sure you got radio gear on and it's proper closed. Set that gap just to 1 millimeter, okay? Right, the high speed and the low speed needle. So I just do the high speed needle. Just do it so it's flush, pretty much, with that brass outer, okay? And then the low speed, this one, do it flush, and then just half a turn in. Another little way that you could do it, this is how to say by the manual. So you're going to screw it all the way in, just be careful, don't go too mad, but you're going to screw this all the way in, your lower end, till it stops. That's all the way in. And we'll do 2.5 turns out. So, some people think that's 1 turn. That's only half. That's 1 full. Okay. So go 1 full. 1.5. That's 2. If we went 2.5, that'll bring that needle pretty much perfectly flush, look. That's another way of resetting. And then with the top high speed, same again all the way in till it's fully shut. And then go 3 turns out to 4 turns out. And you'll find that'll just be pretty much flush again. So this is another way of doing it and knowing. That is what I find is a good starting point. Reason being, for idle, which is this low end, basically it doesn't really need as much fuel in it. It's just got to sit there about 1,000 revs per minute, just ticking over. Okay, it's this one, this main high-speed needle. As the revs increase into mid-range, into the high speed, it's gonna want feeding. That's where I used to go wrong, really, was getting that nice fine balance between the low speed and the high. You do have a mid-range, but generally you don't have to touch that. You can touch that. I don't. Just keep that sort of flush. Just leave it where it is. But it should be always flush, like so. We're just getting that. But generally they are. We just don't really. That's basically so from the low up to the high. This affects the mid sort of tune. But honestly, I never touch these. But this one is the main dominant needle where the fuel feeds into the carb. So if you can't get a very good idle, I would just start to lean this one up a bit. Oh, did I say about, so going clockwise is less fuel, anti-clockwise is more fuel. So anti-clockwise being richer, clockwise being leaner. I can't remember if I said that. But what I find, if you can't get good idle, you know you've got a 1 mil gap here, so you know it's not that. So I'd just, like, if it's a bit spitty, I would just tiny little 1/8 turn on that, and just to improve and clean that idle up a bit. Always warm your engine up before you even try and do any tuning. That's massively important. A lot of people go wrong there. And then we're going to start to mess about with this one. Now it might be okay. You want a blue trail of smoke all the way through the rev range. Now, where it's at, it might be alright. But if you feel you can get a bit more power out of it, you go slightly leaner. If you feel that it's leaning, hesitating, that's really bad for the engine. We're going to go a little bit richer. If it keeps stalling, it's too rich, so we need to go leaner. Okay, and that's all you're doing. And when you get close, it's surprising that you only have to move these screws like the thickness of that screwdriver end. The tiniest little increments, little turns, will get you that fine little tune. But that's like the sort of final stages. At first you might find yourself doing slightly little bigger turns just to get it close. But that's all you're doing. That will get you started. Make sure that your glow sticks are always charged up, your glow plugs working before you even attempt it, and prime up the engine first. A lot of people go wrong, they don't even get fuel into the head and they're pulling it and it won't start. And you'll know if you're getting fuel in the head because it'll become a bit harder to pull normally. If it does flood, just take, if it gets too hard to pull and it floods, the crankcase will fill up and the head will fill up, you get pressure in it, you can break the glow plug. So take the glow plug out, just give it a few pulls, empty the excess fuel out and then start again. But trust me, that there, so just to finalise the video, say give you a baseline, so go flush on the lower, half a turn in, and flush on the top, 1 mil carb cap. Try that. So say if it's going bogging like that, it's too rich. If it's going that's too lean. So just focus on that. Look for that nice blue trail of smoke all the way through the revs. Try and get that nice clean idle, and off you go. Have fun. There you go. That's factory reset on nitro engines. See you soon.